Hey guys, what's up? I'm at the office right now and I'm doing something called a life plan for 2022. And you may have heard of these before. Basically, it's something that I plan on doing every single year. I'm doing it for the first time this year. I've done stuff like this in the past, but this is something I'm going to start doing as similar to a business plan every single year. And basically, what I do is I sit down and I say, these are my goals for the years in these categories, and then these are the plans I'm going to do it. It's just like this. I set a goal and I say to achieve this goal, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, or it might just be X. Maybe it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There might be a lot of things that I'm going to do, but the reason that I do this is to address two major problems that I have in my life that you might be able to relate to. These two problems have held me back and put shackles around my legs for the better part of the last 5 years that I've really been trying to improve myself. And I've learned these very valuable lessons that help to conquer those two things. So let me break down what it is. One of the things that I've realized in my life is that whenever I want to go and do something, like for example, I self-taught myself violin and piano. I said, I want to go do that. I was inspired to learn how to play the violin by Lindsey Sterling, and then I was inspired to play the piano after I had gotten into music through violin. I'm self-taught. I want to take a lot more lessons, but what ended up happening is I would play and I was disciplined, and then it just kind of faded away. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is fun. I thought I had this, I thought I had this exuberance for this. I thought this meant something to me. Why am I not playing anymore? Did I get bored with this? Like, what's going on? I thought this was really important. I haven't played violin in a few years regularly, and I realized what it was. I didn't have a plan. It's funny. There are two quotes that you've probably heard before, one by Dwight D. Eisenhower, the other by, I believe it was Muhammad Ali. The first one by Dwight D. Eisenhower said, plans are useless, but planning is invaluable. He said that about the Pacific Theater in World War II, I believe is what he was referencing. And then Muhammad Ali said, plans are great until you get punched in the nose or punched in the face, something to that effect. I think it was Muhammad Ali that said that. I'm sure if I'm wrong on that, I'll get corrected in the comments. My point is not that you need to have a strict plan for every single thing that you're going to do, but my point is that you've got to have a target that you're pointing at. I've talked about before how a lot of us live our lives like we're driving a car. Instead of driving in one direction, let's say you have 1,000 miles to drive. You live 100 years. Let's say that's 1,000 miles. You drive 10 miles a year or whatever. You could drive halfway across the country in your lifetime and really get somewhere, or you could just lap the county 5 times and wind up right back where you started. I don't want to lap the county. I want to go somewhere, and to do that, you got to set a destination. Nobody sets out and drives 1,000 miles straight without a purpose. If you're a long-haul trucker, you have a distribution center that you're going to, or a delivery that you're going to. If you're on a road trip, then you probably have an itinerary of some kind. You set a target so that you can start pushing towards it. And that's why I found planning like this so important. So this is my first point. Number one, what I do is I do something called a life plan. Where I set the goals in certain categories: family, financial, personal development, spiritual, health, and I'm forgetting one, but either way, the point is I set certain categories and I say I have goals in these categories and I have this plan. I literally just say 2x I will y. Just a 2x I will y statement. To save $1,000,000, I will save $10,000 a week, or whatever it is, And then the second part is a lot deeper. And this actually, I learned this from a YouTuber named Alex Becker, who a lot of you guys have probably seen before because he's actually started doing cryptocurrency content lately. I haven't watched Alex Becker regularly in a long time, but I learned something really interesting from one of his videos on something called a dopamine detox that he made a video on a couple of years ago. And I realized that this impacts my life because, when you're doing these things and you're saying, man, I really want to go in this direction. I really want to do this thing. Like I want to teach myself violin, or I want to go run a marathon, or I want to have six-pack, or whatever it is. And you start to lose that motivation. There's two reasons why that happens. Number one is the obvious one. That's the planning component of it. But the second one is a little bit less obvious. And Alex Becker talked about it in his video about dopamine detox. I encourage you to go watch the video. You can literally just type in dopamine detox Alex Becker, it'll come up. But basically his point in the video was he was quoting research where there are these rats and they would attach little electrodes to their brain, and the rat could press a button and they get a massive surge of dopamine in their brain, like just the most pleasure you can think of. That's what these little rats were getting from pressing this button. And what they found was these rats would literally walk across an electric pad and get themselves shocked and go through physical pain to go press this button. And because they were able to get dopamine from this button, they refused to do anything else that was beneficial to them. They would barely even seek out food, and I believe some of the rats even starved because they were getting the dopamine from this button. And the thing that the researchers learned that also applies to humans is that you will naturally move towards whatever provides you the most immediate gratification, the most immediate dopamine surge. Like, I'm not getting into the exact science on it, but you get the point. And what I've found is that it is actually a lot harder to get dopamine or to get, I don't want to say joy or fulfillment because that's not the point, immediate short-term gratification. It's harder to get that from something like life planning or reading books or, working on your business, even though that will bring you ultimate fulfillment in the long term, because it doesn't give you that immediate gratification that video games or social media or something else will give you. You end up going and doing those things, and then you feel like crap for the rest of your life because you turn 80 and on your deathbed you're like, gosh, why did I spend my entire life scrolling through Facebook? Why did I spend my entire life playing World of Warcraft? Why did I spend my entire life, partying or drinking or doing drugs? Like, why did I do that? It's because your brain is programmed to do the thing that will give it instant gratification. So what I'm encouraging you to do is, one, the obvious thing, have a plan, set goals, figure out at least a general idea of how you're going to get there. Like, if you're driving from Florida to New York, you don't necessarily need to know every single turn when you set out, but you kind of at least got to know where you're going generally and kind of how you're going to get there. Like, okay, I'm going to take this interstate. I'll figure out the exit when I get closer because there's signs, but you got to have a general direction. Then the second thing is, make sure that you're actually motivated to do something by cutting out the things that give you more instant gratification from your life that might distract you. Make it very difficult for yourself to browse social media. Make it very difficult for yourself to go out and party. Make it very difficult for yourself to drink alcohol, do drugs, play video games, whatever it is that's giving you instant gratification that your brain is telling you, no, you don't want to do the thing that actually fulfills you because this other thing is more gratifying. And I guarantee you it'll make a big difference in your life. Make sure to go watch that video by Alex Becker. I think you'll really like it. He's a funny guy. You might find some of his other content interesting. He's one of the YouTubers that I watched a lot of when I was getting started. And I disagree with him on several things, but that was a good video he made. But anyway, guys, this is just something that's been on my mind today that I've been thinking about as I'm starting to cut certain things out of my life and try and get really focused for the year of 2022. I want to completely reinvent myself in this upcoming year. And got big plans, not only for myself, but also for the channel. We've got a lot of amazing things coming pretty soon, guys. And I simply cannot wait. And by the way, one of the things is I'm getting a new phone, so it doesn't look like I'm recording on a security camera anymore. I know I look like I am like one of those caught on camera videos from television or whatever. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, drop a like, helps to promote the channel in the algorithm. And if you found value from this video, maybe someone that you know will also consider sharing it. And drop a comment down below. Is this something that you do? Do you do life planning every single year or every single quarter or every 5 years? And have you found that it's very easy for you to get distracted by certain things that give you instant gratification? Because if you have, maybe this will help. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Peace.